So I read a lot of books, and I kind of wanted to talk about some books that I really enjoy each month, stuff that I really have been looking forward to, that I think that not a lot of people read and kind of slips through the cracks. But I just kind of wanted to do something and kind of, shout out at some stuff that I think are really good books. First off is God Killer. I really enjoy God Killer. It's written by Matt Piazza, and the art on it is by Anna Wozniak. The covers on this are by Ben Templesmith that I love. The interior art by Wozniak is very much Templesmith-esque, and I think that's awesome. The gist of this book is that in the future, the world is broke down, and there's such pollution and everything that organs and skin and everything just rots away. So if you're rich enough, then you can afford to stay healthy. But if you're not, then you have to go to the black market to get your organs and everything. And the basic gist of this is that there's this black market guy that owns a whorehouse and basically kills people off and snags their organs. And I've crazy been enjoying that book. Got Lazarus from Image. I just started reading this book, but anybody that's not reading this book shouldn't be like me. You should just go ahead and get on this because it's phenomenal. You got 13 families that have taken over their little segments of the world. They've got these champions of their houses that are like samurai leader that lead their armies and everything. And it's just a crazy, brilliant world that's been created by Mark Rucka and Matt Lark and who is it does their world building? Eric Troutman that does their world building. It's just incredibly well thought out, uh, and I'm really, really happy that I got on that book. Read Roach Limit from Image, basically about this planet that is a mining planet circling a black hole, and everybody there is doing some kind of crazy designer drug, and they are genetically mutating, and people are getting kidnapped so that they can do experiments on them and figure out why exactly all this is happening. And now this cop from Earth has shown up to figure out what happened to her sister, and there's just this whole space mystery going on, and it's really enjoyable. I think that Ferrier that does this book, I'm not familiar with anything that they've done before, but it's just I'm really enjoying that book. IDW's Rotten Ruin. Crazy enjoying this book. It reminds me a lot of what I think The Walking Dead's probably like. Um, this is set like 10 years after the zombie apocalypse happened and the events of Zero Night. And basically, this group of kids were brought up to be like samurai to fight zombies in the pit of this village that they were living in. They one day decide they're going to escape and like go on the run, and so now they're out doing all these like crazy adventures and seeing the world that they were kind of sheltered from before, and it's just really been enjoyable. Um, the art on this is freaking amazing. The coloring on this is freaking amazing, and you know, just I'm enjoying everything about this book, and I haven't seen anybody else that reads this book. It's written by Jonathan Mayberry. Um, art is by Tim Vargas, and it's just a very, very good book. And there's twists and turns that go on in that book that just constantly are catching you off guard because you'll think that people are good guys, and then they'll be bad guys, and think that they're bad guys, but they turn out not to be so bad. There's so many shades of gray in that book. From Avatar is Justin Jordan's Dark Gods. Crazy enjoying this book. Justin Jordan also writes a spread, and I quit reading the spread because of the fact that this book was really similar. You can even look like right there how it looks. That looks exactly like the spread. Uh, the only difference is this is set in a modern world where evil is just now starting to take over, and there are all kinds of like military organizations that are trying to fight it back. But it's just like all the different forms of evil that you can imagine. Uh, dragons and whatever um, all come from the same source, and they've decided that it's their time to kind of take over the earth. Uh, People do read this, Bodies by Vertigo, um, but I just need to give it a shout out. It's something that I really look forward to each month, and I think that it's a great story. It's about these murders that are in 4 different time periods that are somehow interconnected. All of the art in this is freaking amazing. All of the storytelling. Each time period's got its own artist, got its own storyteller, and that book is just it's on part 6 of 10 or 6 of 8, and I can't wait for that 8th issue so that I can go out and get that in trade and sit down and read the whole thing in one sitting. Cannot wait. Got The Kitchen, which I didn't really want to like this in the beginning, but then once I read this issue 1, was crazy good. Uh, Basically, it's mob bosses that have all got sent to prison, and now their wives are trying to take over the organization, but nobody will respect them the way that they did their husbands. But I've got a feeling that these gals are going to go out and demand that respect. They did by the end of this first issue. I really like Ming Doyle's art, and I really like Jody Bellaire's coloring. Uh, they're just a bomb diggity team, and yeah, really enjoyed this first issue. I think I've got the second issue that came in. That yeah, I can't wait to read another issue of that. And Coffin Hill, it's been going for a while. I don't see a lot of people that read it, but it's basically a story about a girl, Eve, that tries to go out into the world. She's from a town that's dominated by like all kinds of crazy magic and supernaturally stuff, and the real world doesn't so much work out well for her. And so now she's headed back to Coffin Hill, and I'm pretty sure that all kinds of crazy chaos is going to ensue. Issue 14 of this was kind of a one-shot, which I thought was amazing, and I can't wait for them to start the next story arc on that, because the Dela Cruz that does the freaking what is it inking on this is I love his inking on this. Got Evil Within. This one's a scary ass book. Comics, generally horror comics, I don't really care that much for them because they're not all that scary to me. This book, every one of them that I read, honestly makes me feel like I'm being chased by the killers just as much as everybody else is in here. All the freaking stuff in this is just creepy. Basically, it's about a group of like 4 people that have all been thrown into this hell world, and that it just screws with their minds, and everything that's there wants to kill them. And if they run right, something wants to kill them. Run left, something wants to kill them. I mean, it's just evil. They are in some kind of crazy realm of hell. Um, it's that book is freaking wicked. Town Called Dragon. Basically, dragons were eliminated back by the Vikings in like the 1300s. They took this one dragon egg and hid it out in a cave where they thought nobody'd ever found it, or nobody'd ever find it. Now somebody has found it, and this dragon is just running amok, killing folks. And anybody that likes dragons, I can't imagine that you wouldn't like this book. Greg Shaw's art on this is I really really like. But it's from Legendary, and I don't think that Legendary really understands marketing comics, because I don't see a lot of people reading a lot of Legendary outside of Grant Morrison's Annihilator, and most people even got on late to Annihilator. But they've got some pretty good series. Town Called Dragon, Annihilator. They just started up a series called Apocalypse that's pretty good. Read Ghost Fleet by Dark Horse. I crazy enjoyed this book. It's basically the Ghost Fleet is a group of people that transport cargo of like the supernatural alien type cargo that nobody else can transport, and Donny Cates' story on this seems really well thought out, and it's a little bit different than everything that I see going on. But basically, there's like a group of like overlords that are trying to steal cargo from them, and it's just that series is pretty freaking amazing. Read X from Dark Horse. I don't see anybody really read this. I think I've seen one other person read this. Anybody that likes Punisher type books would just have to like this. It's about this one-eyed dude named X that runs around just killing people. He gives you a warning, which is like a picture with like one mark on it. Then if you don't listen to what he says, he makes another mark, and that means you're dead. And then he just goes out and kills you, and he's impossible to stop. He's just a freaking crazy rage monster. And there is just so much blood and gore in this book. It's probably not for everybody, but you know, you just never know who's gonna get killed or what in that book. You got Low, which is probably my favorite Remeter title that I read. I read, I guess, about 4 Remeter titles, and this is probably my favorite one that I read. I think it's because of Ticini's art. That's not got anything to do or anything against any of his other artists. You know, they're all crazy good, but I really, this book is just so beautiful. I like the story, the way that against like just all odds, that the mother in this just continues to have hope that good's gonna happen, and until I see that, I'm not gonna believe it because she just seems to keep going down one hole after another of just bad things. Got The Woods from Boom Studios. Don't see a lot of people read this. I recommend it all the time, and for good reason. Um, it's one of my favorite things. One of the things that I really look forward to each month. It's basically about a high school that gets thrown onto a alien world, which might be some kind of like Hunger Games, like virtual prison. It's hard to say. You've got, you know, Vikings running around here, high school kids, all kinds of crazy monsters. Um, and this Boom just signed this for a 30 issue deal. It's written by Tinian. I know a lot of people don't like Tinian the Fourth, but you know, I think this is awesome. But they just signed this to a 30 book deal, so it must be doing something right, because Boom doesn't do 30 issue books. That'll be the longest running book that Boom's done. Got Wild's End, uh, also from Boom, which is World of Worlds and English countryside. It's got real original art on it with all these animal characters, and it's just really cute and really enjoyable to read each month, and a pretty decent sci-fi book for being about a dog and a fox and a pig, and you know, that are trying to fight aliens. Um, got Hexed, which I talk Hexed up all the time, so there's not really a whole lot I have to say about it. It's very Warehouse 13. These people are thieves, and they go out and they're trying to rescue uh, artifacts from people before they get into the wrong hands. And there's all of these assassins and everything that are trying to stop them. The art in this book is freaking crazy good. Uh, everything about this book is just crazy good. I wish more people read it so it could be an ongoing series, because I got a feeling that, you know, that's a Boom title, so unless there's enough people reading it, it's going to cut away. Gail Simone's Red Sonja. This just started a new arc. Uh, this is crazy good. Anybody out there that enjoys a good, strong female character would have to love this Red Sonja, because she is just a badass. She's not afraid to use her, you know, feminine wiles and everything to get what she wants. And Gail Simone's just awesome writing that. Got Birthright by Joshua Williamson. Pretty much everybody reads this, but if there's anybody out there living under a rock that doesn't read Birthright, you should go pick this up. Kid walks off into the woods, gets zapped into a fantasy world, turns him into, he comes back a year later, and he's like aged 20 years, and he's like this badass Conan. And, you know, that's something that every issue, I just can't wait for the next one. And then last, I got Wayward. Fish out of water story about this girl that goes to Japan and realizes that she has magical powers, and then has to go out and fight all kinds of demons. And like I said, I just wish people would read more things.